Good morning or good afternoon, class. Let's begin class by going over last week's homework. Why don't you turn with me to page 8 in your book. You should have taken the quiz. We'll go through the answers to that. So I'll read the first couple. I'll give you full answers for the first couple, and then I'll give you shorter answers moving forward. So the first, the Latin, amo, amare, amavi, amatum, I love, to love, I loved, loved. Do, dare, daddy, datum. I give, to give, I gave, given. Now for the rest, I'll just give you one of the English words. We'll just say to whatever, just for simplicity's sake. Intro, right, that one is to enter. Laboro, right, that next one, to work or to labor. Naro, right, that one is to tell. Aqua, aquae, water. Fabula, fabulae, story. Porta, portae, gate. Silva, silvae, woods. Terra, terrae, earth or ground. Next, conjugating the verb amo. I'm going to go down from amo. Well, okay, so on this, you're not going to be able to see it, but on the left you should have first, second, third. Those are persons, and then above you should write singular, plural. If you didn't write that, that's okay. Going down from amo, we should have amas, amat, and then on the next column, amamus, amatus, amant. To conjugate, right? You're wondering, well, how can I remember this definition? Well, if you look back into your grammar lesson, you'll see some words in bold. And those words in bold are going to be connected to the grammar questions in your quiz. So to conjugate, right, back on page 4, well, it's when we list all the endings of a verb. What is a verb? Well, it shows action or state of being. And then the 4 principal parts, that's on page 5, present, infinitive, perfect, and then the passive participle, or sometimes called the supine. You don't need to worry too much about that one. That's for older kids. Okay. So that was the end of chapter 1. I hope you guys did well on it. You'll notice I did not go over the derivatives. That's because there's a lot of different answers you could get for that. And that doesn't work really well if I try to give definitions for a bunch of different words. Let's turn to chapter 2 now, page 9, and let's look at this week's vocabulary. Okay, so page 9, it should look like this. There we go. Vocabulary. We'll start at the top. Via, vi. Okay, repeat. Via, vi. Road, way. Fassa, fassae. Again. Fassa, fassae. Ditch. Mensa, mensae. Mensa, mensae. Table. Meta, metae. Meta, metae. Turning point, goal. Pagina, paginae. Pagina, paginae. Page. Cena, cenae. Cena, cenae. Dinner. Patria, patriae. Patria, patriae. Fatherland or country. Ora, orae. Ora, orae. Breeze. Regina, reginae. Regina, reginae. Queen. Insula, insulae. Insula, insulae. Island. Good. Now, one way to help you remember words is if you can think of any English words that look like they're related to these words, right? Like the word patria, right? Patriotism, we get our word from that. So that might help you make that connection. Okay. Now, you can turn to page 11, and we'll go over our grammar lesson. I'm going to bring up some notes here. Actually, I'm going to pause and bring up. Okay, so we have up our notes now. Now, we've already talked about conjugating, right? And so I have an example right up here. We have a conjugated verb. We have our person to the left and our numbers above. Right? We have our base right here, the AM or the AMA, with our endings, OST, muss, tis, und. So what does this mean? We talk about, when we conjugate, we talk about number, tense, and person. What do we mean by that? Well, number is how many people are doing a verb's action. So for example, in English, our singular pronouns are things are I, you, and then he, she, or it. Plural, right? We, you all, or you guys, or if you're from down south, y'all, and they. Tense. This is when is the action happening? Is it present? So to use our verb love, I am loving. It's something I'm doing right now. I love. Again, something I do right now. Or I do love. Or to use a different verb, eat. I am eating. I eat, or I do eat. The past tense, it's something that has already happened. I loved. Or to use a different verb, I ate. And then the future tense. I am going to love, or I will love, or I shall love, or I'm going to eat. I will eat, I shall eat. It's something we're waiting to happen. It hasn't happened yet. Okay, so right now we're just learning the present tense. We haven't learned past or future. We will this year. We haven't learned those things yet. And then person. Who is doing the action? Is it the first person? Right, and first person always involves you, I, or we. It's either me doing it by myself or me doing it with other people. Second person is always somebody one removed. It's you or you guys. So, right, you, Jacob, Harriet are watching this right now, or you, fourth graders. That's second person. It's somebody that is being directly addressed. Third person is somebody that's removed from all of us. Did I say third graders? I meant fourth graders if I said third graders, sorry. Third is somebody removed from all of us. He or she or it, somebody apart from us. Somebody maybe in, fifth grade, like Mac Pohl. He took Latin last year. Or Mrs. Pohl. I don't think she's watching this video. She is busy teaching other things. Okay, so again, when you learn grammar rules, this is kind of hard to understand in the abstract. It makes a lot more sense once we just get practicing and putting things in context. Now let's talk about conjugating. To conjugate a verb, we find the verb stem, which is basically the second principal part minus the RE. And you'll notice that the full stem will not appear in the first person singular. The O replaces the A. Oh, and you can see my autocorrect did that. Let's try to conjugate this. You can look on page 13 in your books how they conjugate amo, amare, how they find the stem, how they put the endings on. So you can pause the video and look at that if this isn't enough information for you right now. But we ask ourselves again 2 questions. What's our stem? Well, our stem is nara, right? It's narare, that second part. I'm pointing with my finger, that probably doesn't help. It's the second part minus that re. So nara is our stem. Then our endings, ost, muss, tis, und. Okay? So why don't you take a minute on a separate sheet of paper, pause this video, and try to conjugate that. And now welcome back. Let's look at what this looks like. Naro, naras, narat, naramus, naratas, narant. We take our stem, naro, or nara, I should say, and add our endings, ost, mus, tis, und. Okay? Okay, so again, this is something we'll be spending all year on. So if you're not understanding, that's okay. If you have any specific questions, parents, I'd encourage you to message me so I can address those specific questions. If you think something we're not doing would be helpful, just let me know if you'd like to go about this in a different way. I'm happy to hear feedback from you all. I'm doing this different than I did things in the spring. I'm not pleased with how I did it then, but this might not be as helpful as I'm thinking. So your feedback will be helpful. Okay, so let's end class by just practicing our chant. And you can see our chant is on page 9. It's above our vocabulary, and it's right. Why did I make the screen bigger for you? It's right here, right? So, O-S-T, mus, tis, unt. Let's try that again. O-S-T, mus, tis, unt. These are the present tense verb endings. And you can use these verb endings on any A-R-E verb in the present tense. Just find that stem and you add those endings. All right, let's do a spooky voice, okay? Spooky voice, O-S-T, mus, tis, unt. And these voices work better if I could hear you guys and I wasn't embarrassed of just saying this by myself. Now let's do a high voice. O-S-T, mus, tis, unt. And finally, we'll do a really low voice. This one's really hard for me to do. O-S-T, mus, tis, unt. All right, keep up the hard work, guys. I hope to be able to see you all in person for classes soon. God bless.